There's high expectations for Sonic Frontiers, a game that I've been watching very closely, and if you watch my previous videos, then you know how excited I am for this game. But at the same time, there's a lot of public sentiment that's still skeptical about the game and what it has to offer. It can't be any worse than the fan game that I've been playing called Sonic Omens, which is pretty decent. It's pretty fun, but it is basically an atrocious recreation of the boost gameplay. Now, here in Sonic Frontiers, we know that we're going to have glide abilities, we're going to have the side loop ability, and then we're also going to have actual combat. Like, I'm talking about like hand and kicking combat, so it's going to be pretty cool. I heard there's going to be a skill tree, and also it's going to be open zone, so you can explore different parts of this huge little piece of land, and then you can go to different areas and unlock hidden paths to these places called cyberspace levels. And these cyberspace levels are basically your equivalent to Sonic Unleashed. At the same time, Sonic Frontiers feels like an old classic that all of us Sonic fans love, which is Sonic Adventure 2. I always say that Sonic Adventure 2 is basically the staple for modern Sonic games, even though it is basically like 2 decades old and even more. But this game has something special about it. It felt like the controls weren't too off, the homing attacks were perfect, the speed and momentum was kind of like slow but not too fast, but fast enough. The characters and the dynamic and the story was phenomenal. I cared about Shadow. I cared about Sonic. I cared about the last story. I love the bosses. Everything about Sonic Adventure 2 is a masterpiece, despite its many flaws and glitches. Without that being said, Sonic Frontiers does a really good job of showing us what it really has to offer when it came to the newer trailers. The first trailers and the marketing before didn't do it justice, but right now I'm actually excited to see what Sonic Frontiers can do, because in a lot of ways, even the soundtrack, like I'm Here and Vandalized by 1OK Rock, makes me feel like I'm playing a sequel to Sonic Adventure 2. I don't know why. It's something about the vibe. The songs give me the same vibe Live and Learn gave me, or Open Your Heart gave me from Sonic Adventure DX. If you guys have played those games and you know what I mean, this does not feel like one of those Sonic games that are just spin-offs or gimmicks. As much as I love Sonic and the Secret Rings, as much as I love Sonic and the Black Knight, they felt gimmicky in nature. They felt like Sonic was out of place. But this story here for Sonic Frontiers, from what I can see, does not feel out of place. It feels like a mainline Sonic Adventure game, even though it is open world and has a lot of new aspects to it. With boost gameplay, I'm excited to see how they deal with that in the cyberspace levels. Please bring back multiple pathways like you did with Sonic Generations. Please. But hopefully this game doesn't rely too much on nostalgia. This game has so much that it has to fill. It has to fill some big shoes, because the last couple of Sonic games did not do us any good. I promise you, Sonic Forces is not a good time. I mean, you can mod it, you can have some fun with it, but other than that, the game is absolutely horrible, and the boost gameplay is probably the worst it's ever been in Forces, with even the hold your hand aspect of the boost gameplay. It's just terrible. Okay, now if you played the games before, like Sonic Colors, Sonic Unleashed, those are pretty good. Sonic Generations is good. I have a lot of gripes with Sonic Generations, but it's decent. It's a playable game. It's not completely horrible. Like Rooftop Run is a good time, but at the same time, we need to realize that Sonic hasn't had anything innovative for a while. The boost gameplay was introduced in the 2010s. It's time for a change. It's been a decade. This gameplay mechanic was introduced in about 2008 or the early 2010s, whatever. We've been stuck with boost gameplay for literally over a decade, and nothing has changed. We need something new, and I'm glad this Sonic team is taking that step. For a moment, I really thought this Sega just wasn't a good fit, and maybe they should sell off Sonic to a studio like Insomniac. I know Insomniac would be able to do a really good job with this property, just because we've seen how good they are with traversal and speed and mechanics. With that being said, I know that Sonic is Sega's baby, and they don't want to let it go, especially Sonic Team. So I get it. But I don't know, after Sonic Frontiers, if this doesn't work, I don't know if Sonic Team is even competent or capable of making a decent Sonic game. I shit you not, I'm not kidding. The only reason Sonic 06 is good now is because of the mod community that has made Sonic 06 bearable. I've been playing it a lot, and I actually enjoy some of the new additions. It just doesn't change how bad the turning is. It's so sharp and tight. As far as that, the controls are so floaty, the gravity doesn't make any sense. It's like the game was half baked by a studio of a bunch of crackheads that took Adderall at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. So we need something new. We need this Sonic game to work. This is it. Or I'm telling my kids this Sonic Adventure 2 was the last good Sonic game ever. You understand? Like, there's nothing else or worse than having to tell your kids that a beloved franchise you've been following, at this point I'm in my mid 20s. I want to be able to tell my kids that Sonic had a revival point. If it didn't, I'm only gonna let my kids play Sonic Adventure 2, and that's literally it. I'm not gonna write off Sonic Frontiers because I think it's gonna be good, but we're just gonna have to see. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.